Hello fans! The bold and the beautiful has never shied away from creating shocking twists that leave viewers on the edge of their seats. One of the most intense and emotionally charged storylines involves Ridge Forrester, a central character who, after a devastating plane crash, finds himself caught in a time-warped nightmare. With his memory wiped clean of the last 10 years, Ridge believes that his life is still as it was, with Taylor Hayes by his side and secretly engaged to Brooke Logan. What follows is a whirlwind of emotions, confusion, and deception, as Taylor and Brooke are forced into an impossible situation. Each woman plays the role of Ridge's fiancé, creating a complex web of lies and a ticking time bomb that could explode at any moment. This explosive drama reaches its peak on Ridge and Brooke's wedding day, as Ridge's memory begins to return and the truth threatens to tear everything apart. Ridge's accident is a pivotal moment in this storyline, and its aftermath sends shockwaves through the Forrester and Logan families. As Ridge lies unconscious in a hospital bed, his mind is stuck in a time-long gone one where he was still living with Taylor, a time when their love was at its peak. And he was unaware of the tangled web of relationships that had developed over the years. The crash doesn't just affect Ridge physically. It erases a decade of memories, making him believe he is still in a relationship with Taylor, completely unaware of his engagement to Brooke. As Ridge begins to recover, the confusion sets in. He's disoriented and unsure of what is real and what isn't, and the two women who have been central to his life for so long are now forced to play an incredibly dangerous game of pretending. Brooke and Taylor are both left in a precarious position. Each woman knows that the other holds a significant place in Ridge's heart, but neither is willing to let go. Ridge's amnesia throws everything they've fought for into chaos. As they struggle with their emotions, they must each step into the role of Ridge's fiancé, both trying to protect him from the shock of the truth while simultaneously wrestling with their own conflicting feelings. For Taylor, the situation is heartbreaking. She still loves Ridge, but she's also been deeply hurt by their past. For years, she had been in a tumultuous relationship with him, and while they had found a semblance of peace, it's clear that the years of their history are far from resolved. Taylor takes on the role of Ridge's fiancé with a sense of duty and love, but also with the knowledge that this could all come crashing down once Ridge's memories start to return. For Brooke, the situation is equally complicated. Her relationship with Ridge has been fraught with challenges, yet she is fiercely determined to be by his side. She believes that their love is meant to be, and she is unwilling to let it go, even if it means deceiving him for a time. The tension between the two women builds as they both struggle to balance their own desires with the needs of Ridge. They must both pretend to be the one true love of his life, even though each knows that the other is living a lie. Their rivalry, however, is not without its emotional toll. Brooke feels guilty for hiding the truth from Ridge, knowing how much he means to her, and that she is not being entirely honest with him. Taylor, too, is torn between her love for Ridge and the pain of seeing him move forward with another woman. But for both, there is no other choice. They are playing a dangerous game, and they know that the longer they continue to deceive Ridge, the more devastating the eventual truth will be. As the days pass, Ridge's memories remain locked away, and both Taylor and Brooke continue their facade, navigating the complex and increasingly tense dynamics of their shared role. However, the inevitability of the situation is undeniable. The truth cannot remain hidden forever, and as Ridge's recovery progresses, there are moments when he begins to question the reality around him. Small glimpses of his past, flashes of memories he can't fully recall, begin to surface. The mounting confusion begins to unravel his sense of self. He starts to realize that things don't add up. Why does he feel torn between two women who both claim to be his fiancé? Why does his life feel like it's out of sync with the world around him? These questions plague him, and the emotional strain starts to take its toll. Ridge's inner turmoil reaches a boiling point when, on the day of his wedding to Brooke, his memory begins to return. The ceremony is supposed to be the culmination of their love story, the moment where they finally solidify their relationship. But as the day unfolds, Ridge is struck by a powerful flood of memories. Faces, events, and moments that had been lost to him for so long come rushing back. His mind is overwhelmed by the rush of images and emotions, and he begins to piece together the truth. The veil of confusion is lifted, and Ridge starts to realize that the life he thought he was living, his life with Brooke and Taylor, is not the life he had left behind. The past 10 years come crashing down on him, and with it, the realization that he has been deceived by the two women he loves. The moment Ridge's memory fully returns is nothing short of explosive. As the truth dawns on him, the wedding ceremony comes to an abrupt halt. Ridge is left stunned, reeling from the shock of the revelations that he's been kept in the dark for so long. Brooke and Taylor are both caught off guard by the sudden change in Ridge's demeanor. The emotional tension in the room is palpable as Ridge confronts the two women who have been playing this dangerous game with him. The quiet, tense moments before Ridge speaks are filled with raw emotion as the weight of his realization settles in. Ridge's first words to Brooke and Taylor are filled with a mixture of anger, confusion, and hurt. He feels betrayed by both women, but he also understands the complexity of their motives. He knows that neither of them acted out of malice, but rather out of a desire to protect him from the truth, yet the deception has left him emotionally fractured. For Brooke, the moment is especially painful. She has spent so much of her life fighting for Ridge's love, and now she is confronted with the consequences of their decisions. For Taylor, the situation is just as devastating. She loves Ridge deeply, but she also knows that the years they shared can never be undone. The tension between the three of them is unbearable as Ridge demands to know why they kept the truth from him. The aftermath of Ridge's memory returning is a whirlwind of emotional upheaval. Each woman is forced to confront her own feelings of guilt, love, and loss. Ridge, too, must face the reality of the situation and decide what comes next. Can he ever forgive the women he loves for deceiving him? Can his relationships with Brooke and Taylor survive this massive betrayal, or has the damage been done beyond repair? The emotional fallout from Ridge's return to reality is far-reaching, not just for him, but for everyone around him. The Forrester and Logan families are rocked to their cores as the truth comes out, and the repercussions are felt across every corner of their lives. Ridge's once stable world has been shattered, and now he must navigate the wreckage of his own heart. As Ridge grapples with his newfound memories and the fallout from the lies told by the two women closest to him, the show enters uncharted territory. The emotional stakes have never been higher, and the tension is only going to intensify. Ridge must confront not only the truth of his past, but also the painful choices that lay ahead. Will he choose to rebuild his relationship with one of the women he loves, or will he be forever torn between his past and his future? The road to redemption is never easy, and for Ridge, it may just be the hardest journey yet. As the drama unfolds, fans of The Bold and the Beautiful will be left on the edge of their seats, eager to see how this heart-wrenching saga will ultimately resolve. As the drama unfolds on The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge's decision to marry Brooke marks a pivotal turning point, not just for him, but for everyone involved. After the shocking revelation of Ridge's memories returning, the choices he makes are difficult, fraught with emotion, and ultimately lead to a series of life-altering events that no one could have predicted. The emotional weight of his decision weighs heavily on him, but despite the complexity of his relationships and the deception he endured, Ridge chooses to marry Brooke. Setting the stage for a wedding that will shatter more than just hearts, it will alter the course of many lives. Ridge's decision to choose Brooke over Taylor, despite the long and tumultuous history he shared with Taylor, isn't an easy one. It isn't simply a choice between two women. It's a choice between two different versions of his life. Brooke represents the love he had before his accident, the life he thought he was living before everything changed. Taylor, on the other hand, represents the life he has with his family, with Steffy and the Forrester legacy. But after the accident, and after having his memories return, Ridge feels an overwhelming pull toward Brooke, the woman he believes he should be with. It's a decision made with passion, yet it's one that comes with deep regret and unresolved feelings for Taylor. As Ridge and Brooke prepare for their wedding, Steffy, Ridge's daughter, with Taylor, becomes more and more desperate to find a way to help her father remember the truth. Steffy is convinced that Ridge's decision to marry Brooke is born from confusion and the remnants of his memory loss. She is certain that if Ridge can only remember everything, he will realize that his heart belongs with Taylor, not Brooke. Steffy knows her father is still grappling with his fractured memory and cannot make a fully informed decision. She cannot let her father move forward with the wedding without attempting one last time to get through to him. The day of the wedding arrives, and the tension is palpable. The guests gather in anticipation, but behind the scenes, Steffy is consumed with worrying. She knows that the ceremony is about to begin, and she fears that Ridge's marriage to Brooke will be a mistake he will regret for the rest of his life. In a desperate bid to stop the wedding, Steffy storms into the wedding venue, determined to make Ridge see the truth. She rushes toward him, her eyes filled with panic and hope, her voice shaking as she pleads with him to remember everything the years they spent as a family. The deep connection he shared with her mother, and the love that had once been undeniable. "Dad, please, listen to me," Steffy shouts, pushing her way through the crowd. "This isn't right. You're not seeing things clearly. You're not thinking straight. You belong with Mom, not with her." Ridge, confused and torn, turns toward his daughter, his expression a mixture of guilt and disbelief. He's overwhelmed by the emotions flooding back, but Steffy's desperate pleas are only making the situation worse. She's to the wedding is already underway, and Ridge is standing at the altar, torn between the woman he believes he loves and the daughter who is begging him to remember the truth. In a moment of heightened emotion, Ridge's mind begins to unravel. The weight of his fractured memories, Steffy's cries, and the tension of the situation become too much to handle. His heart races, his mind spins, and everything becomes a blur of confusion. Steffy's words are desperate attempt to bring him back to reality and push him deeper into chaos. Ridge, unable to process the overwhelming flood of emotions and memories, experiences a moment of sheer panic. He begins to feel as though he's losing control of everything around him. His breathing becomes erratic, and he stumbles, clutching his chest. Steffy's face blurs as he tries to make sense of the confusion. The weight of the moment proves too much, and in a heart-stopping instant, Ridge collapses. The chaos that follows is a blur of screams and confusion. The wedding, meant to be a joyous celebration, is thrown into disarray as guests rush to help Ridge. But it's clear that Ridge is not merely overwhelmed. Something more tragic is unfolding. Steffy, in her panic, tries to revive him, but it's too late. Ridge has suffered a severe heart attack, his life slipping away in an instant. The scene is filled with chaos, grief, and shock. The man they all knew strong, resilient, and full of life is gone. In the wake of Ridge's tragic death, the grief that envelops everyone is almost unbearable. Brooke, in particular, is devastated. She had finally won Ridge back after so many years of heartache, and now, in the blink of an eye, he is gone. The dream wedding she had hoped for is shattered, leaving her to pick up the pieces of her broken heart. For Taylor, the pain is equally profound. She had already been through so much with Ridge, and the knowledge that he chose Brooke over her has always been a painful wound. But now, with Ridge's sudden death, she is left questioning everything. Was Ridge truly meant to be with her, or was the love they shared just another chapter in a much more complicated story? Steffy, too, is shattered by the loss of her father. In her desperation to make him remember, she never could have imagined that the consequences would be this dire. The guilt that she feels over Ridge's death is overwhelming, and she cannot escape the thought that her actions or desperation to stop the wedding contributed to his tragic fate. The pain of losing her father is compounded by the weight of the events leading up to his death, and she is left to grapple with the haunting knowledge that she may have played a part in his untimely demise. As the Forrester and Logan families begin to process the unimaginable loss, the consequences of Ridge's death are felt far and wide. The relationships that were already strained are now tested to their limits. Brooke and Taylor are forced to confront their own grief, their shared history with Ridge, and the complex emotions that have been stirred by his passing. The families come together to mourn, but the unresolved tensions between them remain. The question of who Ridge truly belonged with he was truly meant to be with is left unanswered, but his death leaves an indelible mark on everyone involved. The aftermath of Ridge's passing is filled with grief, confusion, and regret. Steffy's attempts to make her father remember the truth have led to a tragic, irreversible consequence, and the emotional fallout will reverberate through the Forrester and Logan families for years to come. In the weeks and months that follow, the families are forced to come to terms with their loss. For Brooke and Taylor, the pain of Ridge's death is a constant reminder of the love they shared with him, the choices they made, and the bond that was ultimately severed too soon. Steffy, burdened by guilt and grief, struggles to find a way forward. She will forever carry the weight of her father's tragic death with her, and the road to healing will be long and difficult. The tragic end to Ridge's story leaves a lasting legacy on the bold and the beautiful, one filled with heartbreak, unanswered questions, and the haunting consequences of love, loss, and the choices we make.